All right, we recording. I'm just hitting record just to be on the safe side.
We
So I won't
live. We
forget.
live.
But yeah, I'm a deep thinker, man. I love it too. I love it. I love it. So
I feel like I could.
with deep thinkers, I have to make sure that we especially in the mission that we have. I'm like, we need to make sure we complement that as much as possible. Because I do not want time being wasted. I don't want people feeling like they wasting their time. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that at all. So I just be like, hey, you other simplistic thinkers, either y'all got to get it up, or I probably just need to just be like, this is what your role is, and let that be. So I'm learning how to do that.
Yeah.
Because I be wanting to strangle people, brother.
I feel like if we get in, this interview will flip because I'll be like, I got questions on that and I got thought process because I'm just critical thinking is something that I learned how to do.
Yeah.
You know, like I took time being in the military. It really allowed me to. I took classes on it. I mean, they taught me for 2-3 years. That was quite literally my job was to critically think. So I feel, although I don't think they gave me something. They allowed me to learn how to use a tool I already did.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people on that time. Like they're not investing into that,
Right.
practicing. How would you really think this through?
Right.
What's the process behind it?
Gotcha. We recording?
We live.
Okay. That was good. I don't know why I asked that. Y'all sharpshooters around here.
Mm-hmm.
Shouts out to Sam.
Right, because
Shouts out to Sam.
she really the sniper.
Yeah, the sniper.
Like she be up in the mountains. People don't peep, but she definitely is an essential. And we were talking about her earlier. I can maintain my intentionality and my critical thinking when I have a partner who's able to keep me accountable and also complement my assets, right?
Yeah.
So she fits into that, and I'll take that moment on the team or that moment on cam to be for real. Like without Sam, this team don't work how how I want to build it and how she sees it as well. It has revolutionized being with a team, not just a partner or being married, but being with an efficient team that says things like there are things for you to complement. That really allows me to, like you said, just allows me to shine with it.
Yeah. And that's the thing when you have like that team action, like it gives everybody that role to shine. You know what I'm saying? And it makes people feel appreciated, compliment assets, all of the things. I'm still learning that, as being a reluctant leader. You know what I'm saying? I still feel like I have a little bit of a reluctant leader aspect in me, but specifically with the R&B Mostly team, yeah, I just been learning, man. And I noticed from our very first thorough conversation that we had, which was it across the street?
Yeah, when we was at Emerald.
Yeah. You were just so detailed and like the compliments you gave. It was just really dope, man. It was just really dope to be around a soul that understands these things. Like understand, team works. Team is great. And at the same time, too, having a partner or a team or whatever makes me in particular like flourish. Whether you being intentional with the t-shirts, which we're gonna talk about later, all the way to you got companies coming to you asking you to, you know what I'm saying, like the mural their equipment.
Yeah.
All the way to that, you know what I'm saying? Even to being a vessel, an extreme vessel to R&B Mostly. I guess I'll mention that part. Like, shouts out to Larry Love, the whole R&B Mostly team.
Every time.
Without a doubt. But I've been around essentially day one action, you know what I'm saying? It was funny because Larry said, Pete, you've been to more R&B Moses than I have, because there was one time where he had to go across the seas when he was in the service, and we had to hold it down here for a couple months. But we've been talking about doing a lot of this stuff that we're doing now, like back then. And so things have just like picked up tremendously with the fact of you being in these pictures. And in our meetings, I've had to be like, yo, he's thinking great. Like the two words that we'll probably mention through this interview is intentionality and exclusivity. Mm-hmm. We'll add gratitude to that.
Yeah, always.
Always. So those are the three that we'll talk about that we'll probably keep repeating in this interview. But just your intentionality and just your exclusiveness of detail when it comes to R&B Mosa has been like tremendously great. And I thank you so much. Mad gratitude for that part. So with that, we're going to go outside of R&B mostly and talk about your work. Just in like you as the artist. You as the artist. If you want to add more to that, but I mean, we'll just start at the premise to say artist.
Okay.
Like, of course, back in the day, you say you was in the service. That added to that. Mm-hmm. Question I had before I forget: critical thinking. Did you think you had critical thinking before you got into service, or just sharpened it more?
It definitely sharpened it more. Like I didn't know it was critical thinking and that I had it until I reflected when I got out of service. When you're in something in the present, like you're just kind of living. You're taking the classes. You're like, hey, you're learning stuff. It was my job to critically think. So in the moment, I thought I was learning all of this new information, but I already was suited for the job. Even going into the military, you can't necessarily get certain jobs unless you qualified for it. You tested into it. For sure. So before I could even get the job to critically think, I feel like I must have already understood some of the process. But it wasn't until about a year after getting out and I was transitioning out, I realized that the things that I thought I didn't like about the military had stuck with me. Yeah. So I was like, man, like the way that the processes work or just how my train of thought, like how I get to a conclusion versus how I would speak to others. Right. I realized, number one, I've been thinking like this my whole life. But most importantly, the military gave me just sharpening after sharpening after sharpening in order to actually know what I was doing and not just aimlessly doing it.
Gotcha.
Which is nuts.
But yeah. I mean, thinking about it like that, I mean, because people go through these trainings all the time or go through these, whether it's school, like some form of institution or school or whatever, they go through these things and they still come out and be like, why am I doing this? Or they just do stuff without even thinking. But, you came out like, okay, yeah, we finna, like we sharp at this point. Because like you stated, you was like this prior to. Yeah. So for you to come out and be like, all right, let's hit the road running. That's awesome. So when you came out of the military action, what was like one of the first things that you was like, I want to focus on this. I want to target this or I want to express this. Do you remember which one? What was the first things or two?
Honestly, it was self. Like I got out because I knew I needed to focus on myself. So I spent, again, graciously because of like how my team allowed me to do it. I spent a lot of time focusing on just who I wanted to be because I joined the military right out of high school. So those first 5 years of my life, I was almost 23 by the time I got out. So I'm getting out, I'm transitioning, and I don't really know too much about myself except for I'm good at following orders. I'm good at critically thinking. I can run, I'm fit. My mind was strong. So I spent a lot of time that first year. It was the first year of me, when we talk about like even my artistry, I would not have considered myself an artist before the military or even in my adolescent years. Right. I didn't really draw. I didn't take pictures too often or do anything of that nature. So when I was transitioning out, I had a lot of energy, a lot of discipline, but not a lot of things to implement it on. So I spent a lot of time kind of digging into, well, what are the things that bring me joy? And it took me a good 6 months to a year to even figure out what that was, experimenting, trying out, collaging, trying out photography. At that time, it was around COVID. So a lot of the energy in the world was quiet. So I was able to, go out to like small instances of film photography and stuff like that. We were learning how to develop film at home. And that's really my first year. I was just experimenting.
One of my quotes that I always reference that I learned when I was in school, and I still don't know what book it came from, but I read it in a book, and it said it was simple. It said reward experimentation. Reward experimentation. That has set with me a lot, and I think all the time I'm thinking like we don't reward when people experiment. I think that people need to have a moment to experiment. Like have those moments to experiment, to say, hey, this, you know what I'm saying, to be able to sharp think and, tighten things up or whatever. You had that liberty to do that. And so I look at the reward as just all the success that you've had being this artist. It's been great to see you move. Like these past couple of weeks, I've been looking at your promos, and you're so defined when you're talking about the work that you're doing. Like I don't see people doing that, man. Like actually, like defining what you're putting up. Like you're talking to us, and I say talking for like a better phrase, but like you're literally like talking to us. Like you're like explaining what's going on. So intentional, man.
Yeah.
Do you don't think? I mean, do you do you wake up and say this is what I'm going to do, or you just be like, let me just flow with it? And this is from an artist standpoint, because from an artist standpoint, we're artists. We get up and we can turn the blue paper into red with no problem, no thinking or whatever. But at the same time, too, it's so intentional, man. It's almost like you're a lieutenant over like all the stuff. So does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what? Like, do you wake up and say, do you have a bullet points, or do you say, I'm just gonna get up and we just gonna flow with it?
I feel like we are definitely more I'm in the flow category.
Okay.
But the overarching goals are always there, like always prevalent in my mind. Like nothing that I do does it align with how I want to move or where I want to go.
Yeah.
So like I feel like my flow is very guided and it can't deviate. So in a sense, you're right. The lieutenantship is definitely there because I monitor that for myself.
Okay. Product to be able to share. Versus me, I could just show up DJ and rap or whatever, and it's just there. It's an art to it. I don't want to dilute it down like that. But 100 pieces, correct?
It's going to be a total of 24 pieces in a specific series.
Okay.
Within the room, it'll probably be something close to, right?
Gotcha.
Just with all of the stuff that we have accumulated, the prints, the merchandise, the secondary gallery, so to speak, for people to see the other amounts of work that I've done.
Right.
So it's definitely it's a big moment for sure.
Yeah. Big moment. Okay. Again, I would have thought this might have been, show number 3 or 15 or whatever, but the fact that we was talking at something that you mentioned that it was the first one. So I'm like, wow, this is very important to you.
Yes, I would say with this, I realized it's my first show in this gallery or in this studio. So at the beginning of April, being able to move into the Phoenix Jack Studios and have my own place inside of the Legacy building, and now putting on a gallery as a fine artist, as an illustrator.
Right.
I think the small shows that you kind of do when you're involved in someone else's project, those still matter. I have some of those in the last couple of years, but for this to be like, hey, how people will come and experience it is on my hands. And, as well as like the partners that I've decided to collaborate with. Yes, I think it shows a precedence in my career, and I'm using that pivot instead of feeling like, this is grander than me. I'm in control of it. I'm looking at this as like you said earlier when we were talking, a sense of exclusivity and providing an experience to my community where they feel like, wow, I'm honored to be able to come in and see this, rather than me feeling honored to show it to everyone. I think that it's more of I'm coming at it from a perspective of responsibility to my community. So when they walk in, I want them to feel like, okay, something was made for us, not for me, and now I'm just giving it to y'all.
So on a scale of like, I guess 1 to 10, how important is that to you? Like as far as provide, like you say responsibility to the community. I don't hear people talk about that a lot at all, man. Like I feel like that's a thing that's missed a lot. Like how important is that to you? Like to have that responsibility to provide for your community.
Everything. You said it in your words, to be more.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I feel like I use the word responsibility because I use that value to help separate me from a lot of other artists. Because some artists will say, I was born this way, so I create because I was given a gift. For me, artistry comes with a responsibility. We're all creatives.
Yeah.
We all have a sense of being able to create when we were in youth form till now, till older. I think everyone has the ability to create, but when it comes down to artistry, selecting to be an artist, at least from my perspective, I use the word responsibility as the number one value, because I feel like I was given a gift for myself to enjoy. I could paint all day long in my room by myself and be content. However, sharing that with the people is a choice I make to say, hey, I think the people need this, or I have listened and analyzed the energy, and I feel like my people need this thing, and I choose to step into the responsibility of giving it to them.
Man, that's notable, man. Noble is all that does. I mean, when we talk about community and the community leaders, they give a lot, man. They give a lot. So I commend you on that. I mean, me being a community leader, as people would say, that is a lot. It's a lot of pressure. But at the same time, too, it don't feel like much pressure when you're in it. Like it's only when the distractions come in and deter you from those thoughts or whatever. But when I'm in the midst of it, I'm like, man, I need to provide for my people.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's like this void, or not necessarily an acceptance, but it's just a void, for lack of a better word, there, and I want to be able to like provide it, at least open it up to where, or open the void enough to where people can come in and be able to receive whatever they deem is correct for them, or whatever the case. So I commend you on that community aspect.
Love.
Yeah, man. So shirts, be more.
Yes, all the time.
Talk about it.
I think with the t-shirts, I wanted people to feel like it was one size fit all, and that had nothing to do with the sizing on the tee. It was all about the energy. Yeah. It's their energy tees. It's a cultivation of my signature, be more, which is my mantra. It's a reminder. It's an affirmation. It's confirmation. It's everything to me, where I feel I was able to lay these shirts out, use the methods that people are familiar with, the bright colors that people enjoy to see, but putting them down with the message. Right. So being able to encapsulate for people that they could wear the art and feel like they could be a part of it as well.
For sure. Man. And there's no repeat on the shirts.
No, not a single one. You can't, when I made this energy, it was it's a meditation in the t-shirt, individually, every single one. Whether I'm praying, whether I'm listening to a certain song, even from the flicks of the cans of paint that I throw, I think intentionally that this person, with every throw, you will feel the positive energy. If you put this shirt on, there's no way you can have a day where you won't learn a lesson, where you won't feel that you too are a part of the positive message that I bring. So they're one of one. They can't be recreated, and each one has its own prayer, its own meditation built into it.
I think that's intentional.
Yeah.
We keep saying that, but listen, the intentionality is like
Everything.
and it's almost like you're not even really being intentional with the shirts because it's like, I mean, unless you just literally carved it out every shirt like that, but it's not. It's like just be free and just
vibe.
Yeah.
Some of them are, they're made with like it's from the artist perspective. It's like, you use whatever emotion you have bottled up to create. And I think some people, they pour that out onto the canvas. So if they feel some type of way, they draw, something that resembles how they feel.
Yeah.
For me, I use that to channel the energy. So although all the shirts may appear the same, my mood throughout them changed, right? The songs I was playing or the way that I was feeling, everything shifts, but I allow myself to stay in the evolution, to stay focused and to maintain like my values. I always repeat them to myself so that I can feel like, okay, I want you to be able to put this on and be like, okay, he didn't just throw this paint, but you do, you have fun with it. So
for sure. So the paintings,
yes,
the ones that will be displayed, tell us about it, man. Like what the thought process behind it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful work, man. I would like to say this would probably be me if I had an orange beard, but kind of look. I mean, so what you think, Sam? I think
it's giving some.
It's giving some Al. It's giving some Al. Pete. Okay.
Some Pete and yeah.
Talk to us about it. Like as far as what will people experience at the Red Door? What type of paintings these are? Are they symbolic to anything, or is there a value process in it? Like what is it?
So over the course of this past year, I've been in Jacksonville studying people specifically. Right. So I was able to draw caricatures. That's what I've been doing the last year. And these paintings are kind of a way of me diving into the fine arts a little bit, but also being able to share a version of my story. So when I look at them, they are all painted in the same manner, from the colors used to the techniques. But my goal was to show identity in between each character. So although the materials are the same, right? Although the energy might feel the same, the intentionality in each one is slightly different. And I think that represents the people.
Right.
We might have something in common, but we individually have our own light. And I think when I was building this series, I wanted to keep some things uniform enough, like the orange hair, to stand out to you, to feel like, okay, this pops. But at the same time, you can see the cohesion and the individuality.
Yeah.
Because that's what the people are. We are the same, but we are different.
We are different characteristics, different values.
Right.
Different intentions. It's so detailed too, man. Like I didn't even realize the orange hair, but it's all different though. Mm-hmm. This is beautiful, man. This is definitely beautiful. Real quick, did you splash these first and then put the picture, or vice versa?
A mix. I'll tell you a little bit of the process.
Okay.
Everything starts off with pen specifically.
Okay.
No pencil. It starts with pen. And the reason why is because you can't erase. So once I chose the face, there was no going back. So when Al Green, and his story was coming out after him passing and everything like that, I specifically was looking at a photo reference. I don't look to create the person again. Right. I just look to emulate the energy.
Yeah.
So they start with pen. I start the initial color base and then I splash. Actually, all of them I would take the time to trace and create like a covering, if you will, so that when I sprayed them, the initial photo wouldn't get damaged. And then I would proceed afterwards to put oil pastel and the finishing details on top. So it's actually the spray paint is like the third step
Okay.
in the process.
Gotcha. It's beautiful, man. Especially with like the lighting that's about to occur. It's just gonna elevate it, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the elevation of this, man. I mean, it don't matter. Even in a dark room, it's still gonna have like this energy to it, which I love about artistry in this manner. But I'm just thinking about the lighting that we previously, what we were previously in, and what we're going to experience. Because I'm going to come in not knowing what's going on either. Like I'm doing the music, I'm setting the tone, but I like going into a space and not knowing what's going on, and letting you and your artistry and your values lead me to it. Like I love that aspect of it. So just to see other people come in, and I'm probably gonna be looking at other people too. Other people probably gonna be like, that whole like, wow, this is, da 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 da. It's a good feeling, man.
And that's, I think, with exclusivity and that wow factor, those are the goals, right? Jacksonville is a growing city, and we need different events to feel that growth.
Right.
And I think that this one will be able to set precedents just because it's a different approach. The method is there. It's something familiar, but it's still new.
Yeah.
So
I love it, man. Many more to come.
Many more.
Do you have as we wrap this up, do you have anything else that you're kind of working on currently that you would like to speak on? Whether from, because I mean, we got to have another interview, but we got to talk about your direction when it comes to photography and film. Like that's a whole other thing. Well, actually, let's speak on that a little bit. Like,
Okay.
because that complements that very well. So, like, did you get into the artistry? Well, as being an artist, did you get into the film and stuff at the same time, or was it like kind of like I'm gonna pick this up later? How did that work?
Yeah, it started primarily with photography because I think when you want to create something, at least for me, I like to see it first.
For sure.
So a lot of these people came from photos or from my photography. Like when I started my artist career, which is in the last 3 years, if you ask me as Metamorphvic, the birth of me was 3 years ago. I spent the first year and a half doing fisheye strobe-like photography. Very like the perspectives that I chose to use were just very wide, very in your face, just reminiscence of that fisheye look. So
Yeah.
I started with taking the pictures first. And the more I took them, I was doing little things, collaging some of the photos together for projects.
Right.
But then I found myself, I was working at a job at a gym. And when you start to work at a job to supplement your hobby,
For sure.
which was my photography,
For sure.
I was like, well, I got a lot of time on my hands where I can't take pictures.
Right.
So I started to draw the images that I wanted to eventually take. And in doing that and doing little sketches and starting to create mood boards, I realized, I kind of like drawing my photos a little more than I like taking the pictures. It was more personal.
Right.
I didn't have to wait on someone else to show up
For sure.
anything like that. So photography was definitely the lead into me drawing. Once I was able to see the thing that I wanted to create in my mind, I was like, okay, I think I got an idea. And the last 2 years, I've been focusing on the art side, being able to take the photos and also create them. Sometimes I start to draw something and it gives me an idea in the film.
Right.
So they go back and forth these days. But in the initial process, it definitely started off with being able to tangibly see it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Beautiful work, man. I wish I could get back into drawing. I'm sure if I picked the pencil back up, I would draw. It would be no problem. But I remember, that was the same kind of methods that I had. Like it was like I had to see something, to alter it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe give the the details of the eyes a little bit firm, or whatever the case may be. So that's beautiful, that path that you were saying, especially doing this in like 3 years, man. Oh man, like
Yeah.
3 years, that's crazy. So just imagine like 10 years from now.
Yeah. I plan to me, once I locked into being metamorphic, being more, I told myself this will be the career path that I choose.
For sure.
So if it's up to me and God willing, these next 50, 60, 70 plus years, this is what I will do. And I will continue to allow the process to evolve. So when you talk about being able to, if you pick up the pen again, I always encourage my friends to pick up that pen, even if it's for yourself, because I realize that is really where it's at. Like, you were given a gift for you to enjoy. So no one has to see that you draw. No one has to see what you create. You can enjoy it for yourself. Say, hey, I love this drawing, and I'm gonna close my sketchbook and allow myself to come back.
Right.
And that's really what helped me start this journey, is when someone gave me that tidbit. Right. I was drawing on a yellow legal pad. The paper was a little longer than your 8x10, and I'm drawing, and I would rip the page out and I would throw the pages away. Right. I would draw and I didn't like it and I throw it away. And somebody came up to me and said, hey, put that in a sketchbook. Allow them to accumulate so that when you get to the end of the book, you can see the beginning and say, man, I've came a long way. Yeah. That little bit made me realize no one in the world had to know what was inside the sketchbook. Right. I could close it. I could write in it that day. I could open it and close it and do nothing. It was mine. Yeah. And from that moment forward, I always encourage people, pick up the pen for yourself. Yeah. And maybe that, you'll create some stuff that you just enjoy, and that's enough. Yeah. But if you choose to accept that responsibility, to step in and realize that even your gift from your perspective would help others. Right. That's a fact.
Right.
And you know that from the music standpoint, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I don't argue with anybody when they say that it was influenced by whether it's a rap song that I've done or they've came and saw me DJ. Like, there's been plenty of people that have left events that I've done and been like, yo, I just been like extremely inspired. Mm-hmm. I started a podcast. I got right with, my brother and sister, you know what I'm saying? All of that. So I don't argue with that at all. I just be thankful. And I'm like, damn, I got some type of power, some type of energy that these people are picking up. And so, yeah, whether it's direct or indirect.
Right.
So I accept it.
You're giving power to the people.
Absolutely.
And that's the presidents behind this entire show. I realized once I knew how to study people's faces and say, hey, I know what makes a particular group of people look the way that they look. Yeah. I leaned into that and then started to create my own.
Yeah. Whew. Beautiful words, beautiful artists, beautiful artistry, beautiful message, all the things. As we wrap this up, gratitude. We talked about this when I first walked in this door, man.
Gratitude.
I'm very, very. First of all, I am my Thankful Thursdays. I always do Thankful Thursdays. Clockwork. Wow. Whether I post it online or I just say it to myself. I'm thankful every day, but Thursdays, it just got to play words, and so people know me for that. But I woke up Friday morning and full of gratitude. Couldn't identify exactly where it came from. Didn't even care. I was just like, I'm thankful. This is probably like my 4th day of fully being in gratitude. Your gratitude is like very high. Every time we're around each other, it's high. Even when it could possibly be low, it's still like a great, vibrant energy. Where does that come from? Is it rooted from something, or it's just you just like gratitude?
I think it comes back to, if you do enough things that you don't like, you'll find the things that you do like. So I spent 5 years of my life doing things I didn't like, and I was contracted to it. I couldn't leave. I couldn't escape it. That was it. I had to do what I had signed up and said I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I came into the gratitude, it hit me like a rock. And you have choices to make. You can deny it. You can move around it. Sometimes, you could do. When I came into my gratitude, it was 3 years ago. And I was standing at a gym and I realized every day that these people would grace me with this beautiful energy. And when I found that, I promised myself I would never let it go. And I think that is quite literally the passion that I have inside, is just how can I stay in this realm of energy? So I give to people anytime I can. And I'll do it here. It's like, I'm gracious that I can even be in the interview, that I can, be able to share my story to the magnitude where people want to highlight me. So in that instance, I realized, look how much better you feel when you're in that mode, right? And not every day, like you said, not every day will you vibrate to your highest capacity, but that's life.
Right.
And you can even be grateful for that. So I think it's funny because even in the lessons that we're learning, when your vibration might feel low, there's something to be grateful for even then. And as a critical thinker, as a deep conversationist, right? Or, as just someone who really analyzes how they move in this world and don't just move randomly.
Yeah.
Gratitude is that number one value that checks you. It keeps you humble.
Yeah.
So I feel like without it, then you get people who feel arrogant or cocky or, things of that nature.
All that.
So I go, okay, well, I know I'm getting great, but it comes with, because I did this or because I gave to someone, and I use gratitude to check me. It's my humbling factor.
Love it, man. Love it. May 8th, correct?
May 8th.
May 8th. It is going down. Red Door Action. Let them know where the event, because I don't want to mess up the address and all that stuff, but let them know all the things about the event. And where they can find where they can follow you at for more.
Okay. The address, you have to RSVP to get that. The event, May 8th from 6:30 to 9. You have to be there. The Red Door, Mr. Al Pete, MPN Network, DJ Larry Love, with R&B Mostly, your boy Metamorphvic. We're going to be in the building. We're going to have an exclusive series for you. We're going to have work that you haven't even seen, but I know you've seen online and you've wanted to see it. We're going to have t-shirts, merchandise, prints, everything that you can have, that if you want to be able to feel intentionality, if you want to be able to feel discipline, accountability, grateful and gratitude, this is the type of show that you want to come out to and see how an exclusive event can be curated for you. This show is for the people, by the people.
Yeah. And it's going to happen on a Thursday, so that's Thankful Thursdays. So it's
Yes.
So, I mean, it's just more thankfulness and gratitude, artistry, movement, community, power, all the things, man. So please make sure you RSVP and please make sure you follow my guy. The IGs and all that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on Metamorphvic. Meta, META, more. MORPHVIC. Let me set that precedence real quick.
I meant to ask that question about that, like how that came about. Like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
So I just want to set precedence to my name. 10 seconds. Metamorphic. It's not metamorphosis or metamorphosis or metamorphic IC. There's a VIC at the end of that. How I came up with it really came down to, I understood in my mind I didn't want to stay stagnant. Now, being still is different. Being stagnant is totally being stuck.
Yeah.
You're right. I wanted to continue to evolve. I understood that I was an evolution of a person. My work, the art that I would make, would forever evolve. From photos to collages to illustrations to caricatures to oil pastel paintings. No matter what, I knew I needed a name that would encompass, that I would continue to grow and elevate and elevate. When I found this word, I was listening to music and I heard it come out to me. It was like, yo, continue to move in this metamorphosis. And I said, man, let me do some research before I just pick anything.
Yeah.
And one day it just dawned on me that if I added the letter V to metamorphic, it would sound unison still. But if you could analyze, my name is in it twice.
For sure.
So the name is to evolve and to continue to grow. And yeah, that's really the precedence behind how I chose that.
Love it, man. Absolutely love it. Listen, I hope to see you on Thursday, May 8th. It's going to be a beautiful thing, the Red Door. Oh, man. This guy right here has some great work.
You guys got to get your tickets. They're going to be at rnbmostly.com, www.rnbmostly.com/events. You can get them now, RSVP. We'll see you there.
Indeed. The Neighbors Way, y'all.
Dude, I really do appreciate you,
Man, nah.
giving me the time.
Nah, man, this is cool, man. Likewise, I appreciate you giving me the time.